meeting, we have a quorum. It's coming around, but anyhow, there were only the three of us at the last meeting. Did you get a chance to review the minutes first?
I had looked at it way back.
They were
Yes.
pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 The minutes are approved. All right, Tori, it's all yours.
Thank you. Before we jump in to continuing with natural resources chapter, I just wanted to offer a moment for Mark to ask you a question about town plan updates, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yes. Hello. I'm actively trying to find it because I set it up and then it all disappeared. But we've been updating a little section about the telecom and fiber. And once I find that section, I can show you what I'm talking about.
As you talk, they are stringing fiber up the East Elmore Road.
That's good to hear. Okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sharing is not turned on, so sorry to make you come up here again. But yeah, if you could just, I'll send a request. Yay. Okay, so I edited this with the help of Lisa Birmingham, who is the interim director, I believe, is her official title, of Lamoille FiberNet Union. And I guess I will start by acknowledging something you all might already know, but Wolcott is in the unique spot because despite being in Lamoille County and being in Lamoille County Planning Commission's purview, um, due to reasons above my pay grade, um, your CUD, which is your communication union district, is actually split between Lamoille FiberNet and the Northeast Kingdom. So, um, most of your land and addresses are actually in the Northeast Kingdom's section. So, to kind of start with my more important question, I'm trying to set up an email chain or a phone call or Zoom with a representative from the Northeast Kingdom CUD. And I guess just so I could be more prepared and come back with really helpful information, if anything jumps out at you that you would really want to know, now would be a great time to tell me. If nothing comes to mind, that's totally okay. But I figured while I was in the midst of trying to set this up, I would ask you all if you had anything you were curious about or just wanted to know if they had the information for.
I'm aware of the discussion between the Lamoille Fiber folks and the Northeast Kingdom to some extent. Talked about it in the context of Wolcott from the representative to the Lamoille County. Forget his name now, begins with A. Who's the guy that's doing the Wolcott? I should know this. Any case. So he asked me what I thought about Wolcott, about doing what he was hoping they would do, and he was going to set up a meeting with Krista of the Northeast Kingdom broadband, and so I just told him it's just great. They would do the North Wolcott, as I understood it back then. This is a few weeks ago. They're offering to pay extra money. They're offering to do the North Wolcott Road, the West Hill Road, Waring Road. They're coming through the village. They're going up to East Elmore, so it would cover that. He asked about Town Hill. If there's any suggestion they could do Town Hill, that would be just wonderful. It's, in my opinion, it's just all really good. It gets us there faster, much faster, it seems, than Northeast Kingdom. They lost some money because of Trump. Anyway, does that make any sense?
I believe so. Um, what I have in front of you is the proposed edits that me and Lisa came up with. And these are all a work in progress until we get more information from NEK, so we don't have to go too deep into these.
What are these edits? What is the document?
This is your town plan. This is in
Mark, I didn't provide these edits to the planning commission
okay.
because they weren't ready yet.
Yep.
So I thought maybe you would just ask some clarifying questions about the outstanding edits in the chapter, so that we could provide a more thorough update for them to review the edits at the next meeting.
So
Okay. Yeah.
is this the town plan saying, hey, our future town plan will say, hey, we really want to do this? I don't understand what the purpose of the document is.
Um, Firstly, to give a much needed and substantial update, because as Lisa read through, um, there's a lot more information and estimates that the Lamoille Fiber Net Union can provide on what things are going to look like by the end of the year. So having a good gauge on what's going on. And then as Tori said, we can get more into this next meeting. Um, but Lisa was also um she also noted that having consistent and ubiquitous language surrounding fiber will help potential investors in anything ranging from towers to just lines to anything like that will really help um allow you guys to control who's where. And so if they understand that and you understand that, then you're in a great spot. Um So we can chat more about that next meeting. I guess right now it doesn't seem like anyone has any curiosities that they want me to bring to this NEK meeting. But if you do, feel free to speak up now or reach out to me via email in the coming weeks.
I'd like to be invited to the meeting if that's appropriate or possible. I still don't understand, where's this document going to go? Who gets this document that you're creating?
This is all edits in the town plan. So
So,
nothing new is really being created. It'll just exist within the town plan.
could you send us the document?
Sure. Yeah, I think Tori was mentioning that these weren't sent to you because they weren't really ready yet. Um, so once I've compiled everything and gotten everything I want to be in there, we can send it your way and we can
What's the
discuss
purpose of putting it in the town plan?
the what sections because I think
No, in general, what's the purpose of putting something in the town plan about the imminent fiber update from Consolidated or whatever, or from the Lamoille Fiber? It's going to be done before we do anything. Is it trying to regulate where fiber go? What's it doing?
um to my understanding, and Tori, feel free to jump in. There's one thing on just keeping track of. So there will be small pockets and sections that potentially might not have fiber connection, which can lead to grant opportunities helping fund that. Or another perspective is, as Lisa was commenting, not necessarily regulating, I wouldn't say, um, but providing a baseline for potential investors in the public and commercial sense on if someone is saying, hey, I work for a fiber company, either the lines, the towers, or providers, what does Wolcott stand on fiber? This would be where they could look because it is the town plan.
So we have something in the town plan already about towers and telecommunications. Um, I'd be interested to see the document. Who are these investors and I mean, are we doing this for the benefit of Northeast Kingdom?
I'll
So that
I'll just
they,
add I'll just add, Bruce, that a utility and public facilities plan is required to be included in the town plan. So this section was in the existing portion of the plan that covered that in the past. And so Mark and I are just trying to update it so that it's kind of in compliance with the requirements of a town plan, but just has more up-to-date information on the status of the effort in the town.
So in a very short period of time, there will be fiber running through Wolcott, covering a good share of it. The money's been allocated for the rest of Wolcott. If this town plan doesn't get released until God knows when, what is it? 2020, what? 2026? I guess I'm just concerned that you don't do something now that really will be needed, or if it's needed, then it would be very different. In terms of investors, I don't see that we have any. We can say, I mean, if we said, you know what, we love telecommunications, we want fiber, we don't want towers here and there. But off the cuff, I would say that's probably what we should say. I'm not sure about having a document. Again, who's that document targeted for other than the town plan? Well, for investors, once they look at the town plan, so that's not going to happen for a year at least.
Understood. Yeah, I think some of the numbers and some of the work I did with Lisa are to give you that what are we looking like on kind of to your point on we know fiber is coming. What will it look like? And we can discuss this more next week. I if you feel like this is unnecessary or fluff in the town plan, I don't necessarily know what the requirements look like, but it can certainly have a discussion to just remove it completely if that's your proposal.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
well, after I look at the document, I can give you some feedback or not. Yeah, thanks.
Great. Okay, we can shift on back to the natural resources chapter if that is all set. I believe that is 103.
Could you forward me a copy of that right away?
We're in the midst of working with it, working on it. I wanna chat with the NEK CUD first to see if they have any comments or changes because they definitely have a bit of a better grasp of what's going on in the majority of Wolcott. But I can certainly get this to you as soon as that's all set up.
But Mark, it's our town plan.
Sure.
It's the Wolcott town plan. It's not the Lamont County Planning Commission's town plan. Why are we
Sure.
not writing it,
Sure.
or at least reading it?
I was
And
just planning on
planning the development of it, if it's going to be in our town plan. I don't really want to look at something that's been finished between you and Lisa and NEK. And you tell us, well, what do you think about this? It's been talked about, negotiated for a couple of
Well,
weeks.
Bruce, we had reviewed this section in the past with you, and the planning commission had asked us to look into some more updated information for the section. So this was just a continuation in an effort to do some additional research for you all, but we're happy to send you the edits just to check back in to see where they're at and if it's still something that you'd like to see worked on.
Yeah, so I mean, my sense would be that you should wait at least until, a few months, and we should do it at the tail end if we're gonna do it, because it really is in the state where the truck is out here now, laying the line. I will be able to subscribe to fiber in the village. The town will be able to subscribe to fiber within weeks. The whole thing will change dramatically over the next few weeks. And so it just seems like it might be early. That's all.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just send you the draft of where it's at currently, and Mark can include you on the meeting he's organizing to check in about the fiber. And we can pivot back to the continuation of updates to the natural resources chapter. We had reviewed some suggested edits to the goals, policies, and actions and made it all the way through wetlands and vernal pools with you all on page 102 and had kind of paused on page 103 with the photo of the amphibian at the top right. These are all suggested edits. The chapter was pretty text heavy, so the addition of this amphibian was to add some imagery to the chapter. As Bruce mentioned, this is Wolcott's town plan, so if any of these updates or edits are something you don't feel are appropriate, please let us know. But just beginning with the floodplains section, we can scroll through if you've all had some opportunities to review and want to make any changes or remove any of our suggested additions. And Mark, you have control, so I'll let you scroll through. But yeah.
Sure. Would it be preferred that I scroll through slowly or wait for a comment to pop up?
It doesn't matter to me. I don't have any comments in there, unfortunately.
The first big addition, I guess, starts on page 104. Just adding that at the end of the first paragraph, we added kind of a reference to some previous discussions in the transportation chapter about the standards to which roads and driveways are constructed and making sure they align with the standards the town has set. And some additional potential imagery around mapped FEMA flood hazard areas.
It all looks good to me, 104.
A similar graphic was added on page 105 to illustrate fluvial erosion hazard areas and where some examples of public infrastructure could be prioritized or noted for improvements in the future.
This map isn't, it's mostly showing the Wild Branch here.
Yep. If there's another area that would be better to highlight, we could shift.
I mean, that's definitely a major area of erosion right there. Is this map just showing like a snapshot of a small area of the town as of like an example?
Yeah,
Okay.
just it's from the municipal vulnerability index or indicators tool that we had presented to you in the past. When you zoom all the way out, it's just like a square, and the previous map kind of shows you on page 104. Like it's just a little, doesn't give you as much detail.
Yes.
So it's just like a different view of just North Wolcott Village.
Okay.
It's good to me.
Moving on to page 106, we struck a reference to some data from 1972. Um, added the new um, wastewater system in the village currently in final design, and updated some of the water quality info from the Memorial Tactical Basin Plan.
So as of 2024, no waters in Wolcott were identified as impaired.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. And page all looks good.
Um, Not a ton changed for stormwater and ag, and then um, the bottom of page 107 starts getting into forest resources. Um, just noting that upland forests play an important role in flood resilience, acting as headwaters to streams and helping control erosion, water filtration, and slowing the flow.
So this reference to Act 171 on page 108,
Yep.
just like it says to encourage certain activities. There's no particular mandate to it.
Um, Correct. Um,
Yeah, they're all worthy goals. Yeah, everything on 108 looks all right to me.
Integrating adaptation considerations. Is there another way of saying that that's simpler?
I mean, could also just like take it out entirely.
No, it just seems kind of complicated, that's all.
Are you like asking for a definition of what it means?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Um, like,
So is it like climate adaptation?
yes. So like climate, the end of the sentence, climate adaptation, forest management practices. Um, so some of the agroforestry, um, like planting trees on farms as an example.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wonder if the
Could,
wording could change slightly.
um,
Could it also refer to like encouraging trees that are more adapted to a warmer climate? Like we have a major species of tree in our forest right now is balsam fir. And it's being beat by a bug that's been in the Northeast for like 100 years, but never really was in this area until the last 10 or 20.
yeah. Um, it could also be like making sure your forest is diverse. Because if it's all like a lot of one species, it might get that bug and then be susceptible to die back.
Okay.
Mhm. That's fine.
But it is kind of wordy, so um, planning for adaptive forest management can help reduce.
I've got no qualms with the wording. If you can figure out some way to do it shorter, that's even better. But
That's fine.
well, Bruce, you like the next page, crossed out half of it.
I like that.
A reference to a plan from 2011.
Uh, Yeah, the rest of page 109 looks all right to me.
Mhm. Same here.
One question we had on page 110 was about Sterling College, which I know we had discussed in a previous chapter as well. Um, but they have a pretty active website, and we couldn't recall if they had actually closed or if they're still active and would be maintaining their swamp.
The Center for Northern Studies.
Yeah, which is that Sterling College now? Or
I don't know that that's existed for a long time now. That's
I don't know what's going on with that.
that was a private house for a while. Is it not Gordon Young, but the other guy there?
The actual house itself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, somebody about that, forget his name.
The land itself is still there and it's still conserved. I'm not sure who owns it.
Yeah, there's something going on with that. I should chase it down with,
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I'm on the Wikipedia. It just says it was merged with Sterling College, but then operated 2003, 2010, the Sterling College phased out the focus on northern studies. They were sold in 2000. Sterling College retained ownership of their swamp.
Okay, so
It
they
seems like
still
they own
have
the
their
swamp, but they don't have the.
right. No, they don't have the building.
they're talking about raising money. I think Kurt Billings was involved in that. They were talking about raising, should lose information, but raising some grant money for some purpose for that, their swamp thing.
Now, was it just for the access from Ed Ledoux's property? I think that's what that was about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, the town acquired through tax sale. How much was there? Like 18 acres there or something, Bruce?
Not much.
It was a few acres, right? Adjacent to East Hill Road, where East Hill Road crosses the Tamarack Brook. And it adjoins this Sterling College land there in Bear Swamp.
Okay.
But that's an ongoing thing, I think. Still, nothing's really been decided about it or done.
Okay.
Yeah. I can try to get that information to you if there's anything going on that we don't know about.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah,
Troy, do you have a question on that environmentally sensitive areas? Are you asking, because I'm reading that section of that comment about we still have this, because I don't see anything on the internet about significant natural areas. And it seems like y'all are saying they don't maintain it anymore.
yeah.
I'm just thinking if that section is necessary, if there's no.
It's probably in the select board meeting somewhere.
Yeah, we could remove that.
So you take that entire first paragraph out. Under the environmentally sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Because they don't maintain that inventory anymore.
Not in that form, I guess, Mark, we could also update it to other mapped sensitive areas.
Sure. Would you prefer to have some sort of introductory to replace this?
If we need one at all.
Right.
Sure.
And the Wolcott copper mine, I mean, it's a historical thing, but is it relevant to the town plan? Of the history?
Yeah, that would be more of a historical resources.
We're not gonna do anything with it or. somebody has a stock certificate from the company that was involved with that.
All right.
You know, like Hayden, there's, yeah. Whoever's last of us. Anyway,
So you would like that put into the historic resources section? Or just removed?
Oh, it is in this section. No, I mean, it's a significant natural area.
is it environmentally sensitive?
It explains why, because of the man-made outcrops. How's that? I guess it exposes where you can see the little different layers and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, I should go over it. Yeah, okay.
On this section, are we like advocating that we should be purchasing these properties? Because the language is kind of general, but it's like in that purposing paragraph about environmentally sensitive areas and wildlife resources, that's the header, like where it says like for the most critical and sensitive habitats, purchased properties would be most equitable. Right, land, for other areas, land use regulations to sequester away would be sufficient. But like in Bear Swamp, it kind of intimates that some portions of swamp remain in private ownership and should be protected to ensure the entire natural area remains safe from development and mismanagement. Nope. I just wondering, like, is the town interested in taking over that? If we already own it, we own it. If we don't own it, do we want to own it? Because that's what I'm kind of reading that as saying, is that it should be in public ownership and not private ownership. And I'm just not sure.
It's very small.
Well,
Yeah, just the language there. Like it's kind of like, again, like the North Wolcott bog, like the bog's under private ownership and could be threatened in the future by development pressure on adjacent uplands. The other one's kind of stating like, if we owned the thing, it would remain safe from development or mismanagement, which kind of implies it would be mismanaged. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's suggesting if we don't do something, I get it sensitive. I'm just trying to think of like the intent of the document is what our plan is and like grant opportunities, and would we want an opportunity like that or not? You know what I mean? I don't know if it hurts. I'm just, the language is.
Yeah, I don't know. This is language that's been in there.
Yeah. And on that note, the only thing I saw for language is not the same, but like where it says like Wolcott Pond, just because this is language that hasn't been changed, so it's language from the last plan where it says increasing recreational use of Wolcott Pond, especially for motorist boats, may threaten this part of loon habitat, but I don't know that, you know what I mean? Like, is that true? I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. Like, if you have more boats, it would be bad. But I wouldn't Wolcott Pond with one boat. Anecdote, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not sure.
Had a discussion with this. There's a 5 mile an hour speed limit there. You're not gonna follow any of that. But
Like, I don't think it hurts anything to have the inclusion. I'm just thinking of it like, it kind of saying like, hey, if these things keep happening, something will happen. But it's old language and I don't think anything's happened. So
no,
it might not be hearing anything.
I don't know that there is any recreational use of Wolcott Pond by motorized boats.
Mhm.
Kayaks.
I did see a fishing boat 2 days ago. But I didn't know if it was illegal because it says a provisional motorized boat, but it's 5 miles per hour. What is it meant by a motorized boat? It's just like there's a boat with a motor in it.
Either internal combustion or electric.
Yeah.
A while back, some of the friends of Wolcott Pond came to a commission meeting and tried to get us to ban outboards entirely.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And there was, oh, they're going to be water skiing. It's like, you get a boat going fast enough to water ski and you're going to be flying up into the woods in a hurry. And then the way I understood it, or I believe this is the way it happened, the select board actually tried to ban outboards there. And then Fish and Wildlife came down on them and said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
5 miles an hour is sufficient.
Let's go back to Bear Swamp just for a minute. It says here, so Bear Swamp is part of a broader conservation landscape that includes nearby areas like Wolcott Pond. The Northern Rivers Land Trust has been working to protect the Wolcott Pond watershed, which connects to the Bear Swamp. Their efforts focus on conserving forested land, maintaining water quality, and protecting wildlife habitats. Okay.
Are we ready to move on here? Yep. Significant wildlife habitat. Not a lot of changes on that one.
The only change kind of came up in the fishery section at the bottom of 111, top of 112. Instead of the reference to the 1986 Vermont River study, there was a small mention of this in the Lamoille Tactical Basin Plan.
Looking at that paragraph, recent changes in development patterns. On 112. Yet again, it just seems very general, like, why are we telling people this? This has general information. Is that the kind of thing we should be putting that paragraph in our town plan? What are we telling people?
Well,
I mean, it's not that it isn't true.
not sure how seriously detrimental the impacts to Vermont wildlife are of the development that we've had. I mean, which wildlife? We seem to have more bears than we ever had.
Yeah.
We have less moose, but it's not because of development.
There's a deer wildlife area above Wolcott Village between East Hill and God knows where the brook may be, and yeah.
Deer love it in people's backyards.
Yeah.
Can't forget our little amphibian friends.
You know, I mean, you can have a house on 40 acres and still have plenty of amphibians around. You can, you know, most people, even though they'll have their house on 10 acres, a lot of that was driven by the state itself. You know, the 10-acre Act 250 loophole. I was like, well, no, it's done. Uh,
I would think we just take that out. Personal opinion. Although it goes on, this type of development necessitates,
well, driveways,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, no, it's true.
but again, how much do driveways really fragment the habitat compared to what it was 50 years ago with huge fields everywhere? I would propose that our environment that we have in this town right now is far more friendly to wildlife than it was 50 or 100 years ago.
Animals use my driveway all the time, right? In the wintertime, in the snows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, a few amphibians, you probably run them over once in a while.
I don't eat deer.
Yeah, okay, so we've made our statement.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Um,
I'm keeping it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
is there a reference, if we go down the ways in Vermont's agriculture and managed forest land, if we're there? What's the reference for as of 2017, there are 117 parcels? Where's that come from?
I noticed that as well. I'm not sure. I looked on a decent amount of state websites and couldn't find anything. Um, so excellent question. I had the same one.
Was it there before? Or is it new? I guess it was there
Perhaps.
before, wasn't it? Oh, maybe there's a comment with this that I'm not seeing. There you go, I'm sorry.
um,
I'm sure
Yeah, yeah.
the listers know exactly how many parcels in town are in current use because they have to deal with that.
we might also be able to ask the county forester, Mark,
Okay.
because I guess use value appraisal is also like the current use program.
Yes.
Um, they might have access to data for us.
County forester.
Says here the source is the Wolcott Natural Resources section in the town plan. Although they give the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources UVA data as a source. Okay.
Just on that Northern Rivers Land Trust, like, I might be ignorant about parcels of land, but it says they worked with Wolcott and other nearby towns to conserve 1,949 parcels of land. Is that, seems like a lot of parcels.
Does.
Just how many parcels are in those towns? You know what I mean? Am I working with these guys? I just don't know about that. That number just seems high. If they only had 17 easements, which I think would be like. I don't know.
I believe that was from their website. So
Parcels or acres?
I believe parcels. I mean, worth double checking if you'd like. I can take a note.
I mean, I assume that most of these parcels are relatively large. You know, like, I guess they could conserve some really sensitive 5 or 10 acre areas, but as far as the ones that I'm aware of are all, like 100 acres.
Uh,
It could be parcels.
Says the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources maintains a conserved land inventory which tracks over 14,000 conserved parcels statewide. That's a lot.
It's-
Just on the landing page, it does say just 1,949 conserved land, no unit. So we could double check
Yep.
to see if that's parcel or acre.
That's, that figures just Northern Rivers Land Trust. That's not Vermont Land Trust.
Oh, is it bigger than Vermont? Probably. Yes, of course it is.
What's that?
The Northern Rivers Land Trust.
No, that's local.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, it says here, the land trust has conserved 17 easements covering 1,949 acres
Okay.
Mm.
across several Vermont towns, including Hardwick, Woodbury, Walden, Wolcott, Albany, Greensboro, and Crestbury.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Lovely.
The reference for that is the Northern Rivers Land Trust website.
About 730 of those acres, perhaps, are the Wolcott Community Forest.
If Northern Rivers, are they involved with that?
Um, they were, it was mainly Trust for Public Land, but I guess they were in partnership with them, yeah.
Okay. Well, that would be a major one for them then.
Or maybe they have to add it to their stats.
Oh, Steve Young, conserved quite a lot of land
Around the
in
pond?
that area
Yeah,
with the Northern Rivers Land Trust as far as
recently.
well,
I think.
last few years.
Yeah. At the end of the document.
We're on page 24, we are.
This is the end of this natural resources section, though it is a preview for what's next.
is next.
Land use and development.
Yeah. I think I sent out lots of documents on that if anybody wants to read through them or listen to the audio. Nobody listens to the AI audio or reads the documents.
So at the end of this, you want to just take this, have AI do your overview of that and we'll put it, or have the select board recommend to the select board that they include
Yeah.
it with us for people that
Yeah.
don't do that.
We should talk about at some point before we do that, what is it that we want to do? Certainly, as you've all said, you really don't want to just strip out important things. You certainly can use it as the only source for whatever you do to it, so it's not going to grab stuff from all over the place. But it should be an executive summary, should be the easy ones are frequently asked questions, briefing document, study guide. Those are really easy, but it's a bigger question to how much of this stuff do we really want to put in front of people? It'd be really easy to generate hundreds of summaries of everything we've ever done, but I think the town has to decide how much do we put on the town webpage. Especially like audio things. Do you put audio discussions of things on the webpage? I have no idea.
Okay, well, I thought that's what you were pushing for.
Oh, would I do it? Sure, but I think the town, they don't let me decide what happens in the town webpage. Bradley, maybe. I think there's stuff to Bradley, but you can put it out. No, I just think it's a bigger question. The big question is what do we do with in the future with a tool or several tools which change completely how the stuff is presented? That's my question, and I have no idea. What do you think?
I do think that I don't know, the short audio like podcasts or like audio summary of it isn't like more accessible way for someone perhaps, or like a different way for someone to access the information in the plan. So it could be nice to offer.
A small amount of information, right? You don't
Right.
get 300 pages.
Just like a summary, and then have your AI avatar or whatever, reference the town plan. Like if you want to look into this further, this is the chapter of the town plan you look at.
This is kind of technical, but you can put it in a database. You could certainly put the town plan in Notebook LM and have queries of different standard queries that people could run, or they can go to that. If they have a Gmail account, they can go to that tool and query it any way they want. They can say, what does Jim Roberts say in here? It really is a database that could be queried and reported in 100 different ways. Would we ever do that? I don't know. But it could be passed around, and you could open it in your home and you could query it and ask, well, what about? So there's a whole bunch of town documents that are now available from a ChatGPT point of view. Anything you want to ask it, you can say, look, I'm only 8 years old, but I really want to know what this is. Tell me, and it will tell you as an 8-year-old. Anyway, it's just a question, I think.
We're almost to the end of editing the plan. And then I was thinking, to go back to the beginning once more, just to make sure the intro is capturing everything that has been updated over the past year. The introduction to your town plan, I feel like does a nice job of summarizing like what the town plan is supposed to do, what's required. But maybe Bruce, some short executive summaries might also be helpful for some beefier chapters like this natural resources one. Just so people can get a quick snapshot of what's coming. So that could also be useful to do
Yeah,
and add before the edits wrap up.
sounds good.
So next month is going to be land use and development.
Yes, which may, that's the goal. And it's going to circle back to an earlier reference in one of our meetings about Act 181 and changes that came from the legislature last year. I believe Seth and Tasha will be meeting with the select board at their second meeting of this month to review updated future land use maps. And then we would also then get to update you on updates from Act 181 and take a first look at that updated map and how it would reflect the updated narrative of the chapter as well.
Have anything else for this evening?
We don't.
Okay.
Anything else to bring up, Tim? Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second motion.
Also, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
Great.
Thank you, Dory.
Yeah, thanks, Dory.